Hello students, I am Reena. Welcome to Math Fam. So today we'll be taking our first chapter of CBSE, which is real number. So in this chapter, first we will see what are the concept, what is fundamental theorem of arithmetic. It will be related to here prime factorization. Then you will have some question where you have to find out whether how to differentiate between prime and composite number and how to check. There will be one or two marker question which is based on composite number. Then you will see that how do we use fundamental theorem of arithmetic to calculate here HCF and LCM of given numbers. Then the last topic you will prove the irrationality of the given number, and we will see during these taking this topic we will see the NCERT questions also will cover, and we will see the exam type questions also. What is the first part here? This is fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Fundamental theorem of arithmetic. What does this state? That every composite number can be written as the product of prime numbers, right? So here what is fundamental theorem of arithmetic? Every composite number can be written as the product of its prime factors, right? So as product of its prime factors. So this one in lower grades also you have done it already. So what are the different methods you will see here? There can be two methods. First we call it as factor tree method. So first method to do the prime factorization is factor tree method, and second you will see that division method, right? So using division or factor tree method, we can find out prime factorization. Now what is given here? If I take one example, if I say 105, correct? Now using factor tree method, if I take it here, factor tree method, find out the factorization, prime factorization of this number. Then you will take it as here. First you will take here 105. It can be generally I take in a box the composite number and prime numbers in circles. You can use circle also. So first number, use divisibility rule. The first, what are your prime numbers? 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. So I can take only prime numbers. So it's first number, it's divisible by 2, and when I divide 105 by 5, I get here 21, right? Now this is also a composite number. Then if I divide this number by 3, which is a prime number, I get 7, and again you can put it in the circle because it is a prime number. So what is your prime factorization of 105? I can write down as, generally we write down in the ascending order, so you can take here 3 times 5 times 7. Right now here what is the meaning of prime? Because we are doing here fundamental theorem of arithmetic. If you will see here, what is the meaning of prime numbers? You know that any number which is having only two factors, right? So prime numbers, if I am taking here prime numbers, how many factors will have? Only two factors. And what are going to be the two factors? The one and number itself, right? Those, any number which is having only two factors are called prime numbers. And composite number, here if I take here composite number, any number having more than two factors, right? More than two factors, if a number has, then we call it as composite number. Okay, so how we are doing it here? We can do the prime factorization of all the composite number. And what are the methods? If you will see here, it is factor tree method. I have done it here, prime factorization. Let us take here, if there is another number, how are we going to take the division method to do the prime factorization? So second method, we know that it is division method. If I take here division method, let us take one of the example. If I take 192, so how do we do it here? I can follow the division method, and first number is, it's an even number, so will be divisible by 2, 2 nines are, and then 6 are, then again you can do 48, then if you divide 48 by 2 it is 24, then here it is 12, then you can write down 6, then 3, and then here 3 ones are. You have to divide it. Now, if there are repeated prime factors, you will write down in the exponent form. So, how many times 2 is there? So, what is prime factorization of 192? You can write down as 2 to the power 6, because 6 is 2 is coming 6 times here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 3. This is called, you have converted 192 as the product of its prime numbers, right? Now, using this, how do you find out LCM and HCF? So let us take here, what is the next topic here? If you will see, look at here. This is fundamental theorem of arithmetic. What is prime and composite number? Then here HCF and LCM, right? So if I take here HCF and LCM, how do you take it here? This is next one, your next part here. It is highest common factor, which is HCF, highest common factor between the numbers, which you will highest common factor of numbers, which we call it as HCF, and here least common multiple. This is least common multiple, which we call it as factor multiple, which we call it as LCM. How do we find out using this fundamental theorem of arithmetic? So using fundamental theorem of arithmetic to find out HCF and LCM, first you will always get the prime factorization of numbers. So after that to calculate, so let us see here, if the example says here find HCF and LCM of 90 and 144. This is the question. So first thing, you will do the prime factorization, right? So first, if I take this 90, if I'm taking 90, it is 45, then again it will be divisible by 3. 3 ones are, 5s are, again 3, 5, and this is 5 ones are. This is a prime factorization of 90, and then here 144. Here it is 2, 7s are, 2s are, then again 36, then again 18, then again 9, 3, 3s are, and here 3 ones are. Now how are we going to use it here? First write down here what is the 90 equals to here. If I'm writing 2 times 3 square times 5, and 144, if you take it as 2 to the power 4 times 3 square. Now you need to know that here to calculate the HCF, we take the maximum possible common factor, right? So you take the least value of the exponent here, because how do we calculate here HCF? You need to note this, you need to remember here, if I'm finding here, if it is HCF of 90 comma, this is the way you will write down, okay? Then here if you'll see 2 is a common factor. Here there's no power, so it's a 2 to the power 1. Now 2 to the power 1 and 2 to the power 4. What is the highest possible common value, which is 2 to the power 1? That means whenever you are taking here, you will take here least value of exponent of the common factor, right? Exponent of common factor or factors, because there can be more than one factors also possible. Here if you will see, now again here 3, if you'll see, if you'll take these two values here, what are the corresponding value here? This one, 3 square, 3 square, it is the same. So what is going to be the highest common possible value here? It is 3 square. Then here after that there is 5, there is no 5, any 5 as a factor of 144. So highest possible common factor is going to be here 9 twos are here 18. Similarly, if we are finding here LCM of this least common multiple, so when you are doing this here LCM, you need to remember the rule. Here you take the least value of the exponent of common factor. Then for the LCM, you take the maximum common highest, you will take the maximum value of the exponent, right? Highest power of the exponent. So first you will find out here common. First it has to be, you will check for the common factors highest power or exponent, then multiply by, because you need to take here product. Here also you can take it here product of whatever the common values are here. Here also I can take product of common factors highest exponent times, you need to consider here non-common factors also, because if there is any factor which is there in only one number, that also you are going to consider. Now look at here, if I consider this, what is the highest possible common here? 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 4. I'm going to take it as 2 to the power 4 because they said common factors highest power. Because we take in multiple, we are going to take the extra value, then 3 square, it is the same. So 3 square, but there is a non-common factor between both number 5. So 5 also will be here. Now if you do this, it's a 16. 2 to the power 4 is 16, 16 5s are 80, 80 times 9, and you will get here LCM of these two number is 720. Now what is the other way to identify, how to verify? The highest common factor will divide both the numbers, right? 90 divided by 18 will be 5, and 144 also will be divisible by 18, you will get here 8, right? Similarly here LCM will be divisible by the number. So 720 divided by 90 will give you 8, and similarly 720 will be divisible by 144 also. So this is the way you find out HCF and LCM. Now let us see relationship between HCF and LCM. So before we take relationship between the HCF and LCM, you have to remember that whenever you need to calculate here HCF, you can take it here the product of smallest power. See, I have written here it should be the least power or the smallest power of each common prime factor in the number. That is why, see here, you can see that 2 to the power 1 is smaller, so we have taken that, and 3 square. Then whereas whenever there is a LCM, you need to calculate the LCM, you need to take the product of the greatest power of each prime factor, so each common prime factors also, and then you can take it here. Involved in the number means all the prime factors. So 5 is also there for one of the numbers, so that is why we have to take 5 also. Then what is the relationship between here HCF and LCM? If I need to take it here, relationship between HCF and LCM of two numbers, right? HCF and LCM of two numbers. HCF and LCM of two numbers. If I take that number as A and B, right? So whenever you need to, this also you have learned in lower grades. What do we take the relationship as? If I'm taking HCF of two numbers, which is A, B, the product of HCF and LCM of two numbers will be equals to product of those two numbers. So this relationship you have to remember. There will be some MCQ based question. Other than that, you need to remember that in exam weightage of this chapter is 6 marks. Generally you will take it as 6 marks weightage is given for this chapter. Okay, so after that, how do we use to solve the questions, how to find out HCF, LCM and relationship? Let us see the first exercise. Whenever, other than that, you need to remember how to take the prime factorization of prime number. So you have to remember sometime 23 square, what is 29 square, because you will be using those squares to find out the prime factorization also. Now here it's written again, express each number as a product of its prime factor. So you can take it here. Now if you'll see, if there are bigger numbers, you need to, here question number Do it one by one, use divisibility rule. So first it's ending with 5, I can divide by 5. 5 sevens are, then 6 are, 5s are, again it will be divisible by 5. 1s are, then here 5s are, 3s are, then again now if you'll see this is divisible by 3, so 3 5s are, 1s are, and here again 3 1s are, 7s are, and 17 is a prime number. Now it says that a fundamental of theorem, as per fundamental theorem of arithmetic, you can change the order of the prime factors, but I can, this will be this, the product is going to be unique, right? So here PF, prime factorization of 3825, is, if I write down in ascending order, 3 square times 5 square times 17, right? Other than that, if I see the next number, because it's looking little bit different, 5005 here, if you see this number, how are you going to do the prime factorization? So you know, first it will be divisible by 5, so 1001. Now how, because 1001 will be divisible, will not be divisible by 2, it's not divisible by 3, because sum of digit, it is not divisible by 3. So you check for 7 also. In some cases number will be divisible by 7. So for 7 we don't use any divisibility rule, you have to divide and you have to check. So if I take it here, it is divisible by 7. 7 ones are 7, right? 3 7 fours are 28, then 2 7 threes are. Now 143 it's coming. Now it is not divisible by which number? 143 won't be divisible by 7. Is it divisible by 11? Because see, you can take only prime numbers. So at least remember the multiplication table of prime numbers. So it will be easy. Now it is divisible by 11. So 11 ones are 11. Then here 3 is the remainder, so 30. Now you can see that, see, all you are getting here prime numbers. So if you don't know the multiplication table, you'll get stuck. So prime factorization of 5005 will be 5 to the power 1 times 7 to the power 1 times 11 times 13. Here every it's coming one time only, right? Now let us see the last bit also, so that 7429. So this is the next one here. If I take here 7429. Now this number ending with 5. So take first, it won't be divisible by 2. Then if I take here sum of digits, how can we take sum of digits? 11, 13 and 9, 13 and 9, it's 22. So it's not divisible by 3 also. Now this number you can see that will not be divisible by here 2, 3, 5, 7, right? Then what is the next prime number? 11. Try to check 11 6, it won't be divisible by 11 also. So you need to take all the prime numbers. That's why I was telling you, you have to remember the multiplication table of these prime numbers, right? Next number is 17. Let us see 13. So let us see here, will it be divisible by 13? 13 5s, if I take here 65, it's 92, 7s are here, 91, 19. It is not divisible by 13. Then what is the next prime number? We know that after that it is 17, right? So check there, it should be divisible by 17. You'll see that 7 4s are 68, then 6 2. Then we can take here 3s are, 7 3s are 51. 9, and it must be 7 sevens are 49, right? So it's because it's ending with 3 threes are, it won't be possible because 17 threes are, and this is divisible. You can see that. So here I see these are the bigger numbers. So until unless you do trial and error method, you will get stuck. Now 437 will, is it divisible by the initial numbers? Not. So just check for 17 2s are 34. Then here it is 9, right? 7, it won't come in 17's table. So what is the next number? If I take it here, let us check. Next prime number is 19. So 437, is it divisible by 19? Here 19 2s are, we can take it here 38, and here 5, and this is 3s are 57. right? So I know that the next, so that is why you, if you remember multiplication table of prime numbers, it becomes easy to do the prime factorization. So what is here? Prime factorization of prime factorization of 7429 is 17 times 19 times 23, right? Using fundamental theorem of arithmetic, I can write down 19 into 17 into 23 also, but in general we follow the ascending order of the factors. Now let us see what is, which kind of question will be there. This is the first basic question. Then after that you can have finding LCM and HCF of the given numbers, right? So I'm just giving you few questions here. Let us see how will you solve, how will you find out HCF and LCM of the given numbers. So here there are three bits, we can take any one. Right here also, if you see, we'll take first and second bit, so you will understand how do we do it. Now here if you will see, there are three numbers you have to find out HCF and LCM. So you will follow the same thing. Now whenever you are finding smallest power of each common factor, prime factor means you have to check for all the three numbers, and similarly for LCM also you need to see the factors of all the three numbers, right? So let us take the first one here. First I can take here 12, 15 and 21. What is the prime factorization of 12? If you see, if you remember, you can directly here do it, but because this is a subjective question, so you need to show all the steps. If it is objective, you can do it mentally also, right? And then 21, it is 3, 7 za 1 za. So here if I write down prime factorization of 12, that is 2 squared times 3. Then similarly here prime factorization of 15, it is 3 times 5. I am writing the same factors under each other, so it's easy to do the comparison. Then here 3 times 7. Now if you do it here, because I need to find out HCF of all the three numbers, so 12, 15, 21, and here LCM of also these three numbers. Now what did we say here? Common factor. 2 is not there for the second. 2 is not the prime factor for second and third number. So we can ignore it. Now if you will see here, 3 to the power 1 when there's no power, which is common in all. So your HCF, and 5 and 7 is also not common. So your highest common possible factor is 3 only. Whereas if you are calculating LCM, you have to take common one time here, maximum power, so it is the same, so it is 3 only. So it will be 2 squared times 3 times 5 times 7, because we take all the factors, common and non-common also. If you see product of greatest power of each factor, right? Common, if it's a common, do not take more than one time. First you will take, that's why we can take common and then non-common. I can write down here first common factor also, which is 3, and then consider all the non-common factors. So if I take this 4, 5s are 20, 23s are 60, 67s are 420 is going to be LCM of these three numbers. Now what do we do here in the second bit? If you will see, 17, 23, 29, all three of them are prime numbers. So you know that prime factorization, 17 is going to be equals to 17 is 23 and this is 29. So what is going to be the HCF here? If I am finding HCF of these three numbers, there is no common factor other than 1. So HCF will be 1. Similarly, LCM, because all these are co-primes. Co-primes are the numbers which will have only 1 as their highest common factor. So product of these three numbers is going to be the LCM that you can calculate and you can find out. So answer, if I take it here, it is 11,333. So if there are prime numbers, you can directly take product as LCM, and HCF of those two prime numbers will be 1 only, right? So how do we now use, because we saw relationship of HCF and LCM between two numbers, right? So how do we solve those questions, those kind of questions? Let us take here, generally you will have objective type of questions, right, based on this topic. So what is this here? First question, it says here, if you read the question, find the HCF and LCM of the following pairs of integers and verify the HCF and LCM equals to product of these two numbers. So here you are not using relationship to find out the numbers, missing numbers or HCF, LCM. Instead of that, you need to verify. So what I need to do it first, find out HCF and LCM. We'll be taking only one question here because it's a similar type. Other questions you can solve. And please comment in the message box, comment in the message section, message in the comment section if you are having any kind of doubt. So first, if I take here 336 and 54, first do the prime factorization here. If I take here 336, right, and here 54 prime factorization, 1s, 6s, 8s. Then here 8s and 4s. Then you take 42. Then here it's 21. Then 21 is divisible by 3 and then 7. It's done. Then after that 2 7s are. Then it's not divisible by 2. So 3 9s are. 3 3s are. And then 3 1s are. So what is the prime factorization of 36 is 2 to the power 4 times 3 times 7. Similarly here, prime factorization of 54, it is given, we are getting it as 2 to the power 1 times 3 to the power 3. Here there's no power, means it is 1 only. Now how do we find out HCF? You know that you need to see the common factors and the least power among those two common factors. So here 2 is a common factor here, and what is the least power? 1. So your first factor, it is going to be 2 to the power 1 times, here in the next 3 is also one of the common factor here, and the lowest power, it is 1. So you'll take it here times 3 to the power 1. So your HCF is 6, right? And after that, if I need to find out LCM, what I have to do it here, 336 and 54 LCM is, you take the greatest power of the common factor. So it will be 2 to the power 4 times 3 cube times 7. And if you take the product, it's a 16 times 27 times 7, you will get it as 3024. That is going to be a LCM of these two numbers. Now it's written here, verify the relationship between HCF LCM, which is equals to, if you see, take that LCM into HCF is product of two numbers, we need to verify. So you can take it here, LCM times HCF is equals to product of two numbers. Product of two numbers. Now you substitute, because now how do we verify? We can take here LHS and RHS. So you can write down here without putting equals to sign. What is the LCM we have here? 3024 times 6, and the product of, what are the two numbers? Product of two numbers, 336 times 54. Now if you take the multiplication, you will get it here 18,144, and if I take the product of numbers, then also I am getting 18,144, which both of the values are equal. That is why left hand side is equals to right hand side, hence verified. So this is the way you verify the relationship between HCF and LCM. Okay, now where else do we use this relationship? Generally, you will have MCQ, multiple choice questions, where you will use this verification rule to find out the unknown value. Now, if you will see in this question, you can see that there are, what are the four values are there? This is LCM, HCF, and the two numbers. Any one of them are unknown, we can use this relationship to find out the unknown value. Now you can see that here, this is the fourth question. What is given here? Given that HCF of two numbers is 9 and LCM you need to find out. So we can take it here, since, because first we have to mention the rule. Since we know that HCF of two numbers times LCM of two numbers is equals to product of two numbers. Now just the substitute, what is the LCM? HCF is given 9 times LCM, which is equals to 306 times 657. Now to calculate, to find out the LCM, I can transpose 9, and when you do the simplification, you will get LCM of those two numbers, right? Here 9 ones are 9 threes are 27, 9 fours are 36, and if you multiply these two numbers you will get the LCM of those two numbers. So what is the LCM of the same those two numbers? See, you did not follow factorization method to calculate the LCM. So 22,338 is the LCM of these two numbers. So what did we use here? We have used the verification, the relationship between HCF and LCM to calculate the LCM, right? Now there will be another one more type of question here, which is not related to HCF or LCM, but it is related to prime factorization, fundamental theorem of arithmetic. What do we do if I need to check? So this is one question, mostly you will see one marker or multiple choice question, or sometime it can be a 2 marks question also. It says that the digit in one's place, it ends with 0, right? If any value, if I take any number, right, it can be 2 to the power n or 6 to the power n or 4 to the power n. You need to check end with digit 0. That means its ones place value is 0 or not, we need to check. So what you need to find out here, what do we need to get here? How can we check here? You know that it can be any number where n is any natural number. Okay, n has to be positive, we can't take, so n, the power n is natural number, if n is natural number. Now if you will check here, ending with 0, how will be the number here? It's, if I take 10 is ending with 0, what is the prime factorization of this? 2 into 5. If I take here 100, you know that it's a 10 square, so can be written as 2 square into 5 square. If I take here 250, this is also ending with 0, so here how can I write down 5 square into 10? That can be again written as 5 cube into 2. So this one here, if you'll see, I'm writing just the prime factorization. So any number, if I'm taking here 40, 40 is 4 into 10, but these are not the prime numbers, so you can take here 2 cube into 5. So if you observe the pattern, it is 2 into 5, this is 2 square into 5 square, this is 5 cube into 2. So any number, if it is ending with 0, its prime factors has to be in the form of 2 into 5 with any exponent value. So what is the rule you have to write down here? A number, anything. I'm just taking a2, which is where a is any whole number, right? A to the power n, right, will end with 0, if its prime factorization is in the form of 2 to the power n into 5 to the power m. Why am I writing this? Because every case here, if you'll see, the m and n are same, but in this case m and n are different. The powers can be same or different, but if the prime factorization is having here 2 into 5 anything, right, 2 to the power n and 5 to the power m, it will always end with 0. I can take one more number here, because you can see some numbers where you are not, there is some other factor than 2 and 5 also. See, if I take here 120, now 120, how 12 can be written as 2 square into 3, and then 10 can be written as 2 into 5. So I can write down here 2 cube into 5 into 3. Now see, there can be any other factor also than 2 and 5, right? But here it should be in the form of, this means there can be anything else, but in the prime factorization it must be 2 to the power n into 5 to the power m. This has to be there. There can be some other factor also, but it will end with 0 if you have these as the factor in the form of this as their in their prime factorization. Not only this, but these two, both the factors must be there in its prime factorization, right? Into something also. Sometime you get into something or sometime you will not get it, right? Here, like here I have shown you here, it is into 3. There is one extra factor also into 3. Into anything can be there, but if you are having these two factors, it will definitely end with 0. Now how the question will come here, if you see, I'll give you one question. This is from your exercise only. It says that check whether 6 to the power n can end with 0 for any natural number n. Now your base is given here. What is the base here? 6 to the power n. So n you can't do anything because it is the unknown value. So what you will do? You'll do prime factorization of 6. So is it 2 into 3 whole power n? Then which is 2 to the power n into 3 to the power n. Now do you see here, is it in the form of 2 to the power n into 2? There is, so you don't have in the prime factorization 5 as its factor, only 2 is there. So will it end with 0? It will not end with 0. And what is the reason you will be writing here? You will write down it will not end with 0 because in the prime factorization of 6, we don't have 5 as its factor. So that reason you must mention the reason here. 6 to the power n will not end with 0, will not end with 0 because in prime factorization of 6, 5 is not a factor, right? Or it is not in the form of 2 to the power m times 5 to the power n, right? So 3 can be the factor, but I am having only 2 as a factor, so it will not end with 0. Okay. So generally you will get here 4 to the power n or 8 to the power n, 6 to the power n. Any these kind of value will come where you have to check whether it will end with digit 0 or not. Now in this question you have to explain, so it will be a 2-marker question, why this is a composite number, because we are learning about prime and composite number also. So you need to show that there are two different numbers. You need to show that this is a composite number and this is another composite number. So I'm just taking one of the question here. I'm taking 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 plus 5. Now what is the way to show that it's a composite number? You know that you need to show that there are more than two factors. So first, if you see, there is a plus sign and 5 is common in both the terms. So I can take here 5 common. So what will be left? 7 times 6 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, and then plus 1 will be left. Now multiply these numbers, because you have to multiply. You need to show I'm getting 5 as one of the factor, right? Now you multiply 7 times 6 times 4 times 3 times 2, you will get it as 1008. So I can write down here this as 5 and 1008 plus 1, which is nothing but 5 times 1009. Now you know that 1 is the factor of every number. Also here itself I can say that it is a composite number, but you need to write down here. This shows that don't forget to mention 1. Otherwise, you can't say there are more than two factors. So all know that 1009 will not be divisible by any other number. So 5 is a prime number. 1009 is also a prime number. So you can write down here, but 1 is another factor. So you can write down here, therefore, it has more than two factors. Therefore it is I don't know what is this number. You don't need to show the what is the product and what is the number, but whatever the product and sum, it is going to be it's a composite number. It is a composite number. You need to always conclude your answer. So this is done. Then after that, you will have sometime the word problems also. We'll discuss again exam type word problems later on once we take all the topics. Now what is written here? There is a circular path around a sport field. Sonia takes 18 minutes to drive one round of the field, while Ravi takes 12 minutes for the same. Suppose they both start at the same point and at the same time and go to the same direction. After how many minutes will they meet again? Now you know that if you remember earlier also, whenever the bell rings at a common place, this common place is known as common multiple, right? Because you need to take the intervals. So you have to find out LCM. Common meeting point at equal interval is always LCM. So what you will do here first, it's given here 18 minutes. Who is taking? Sonia is taking, and Ravi is taking 12 minutes. Now if you do the prime factorization of this is going to be 3 times 2 times 3 square, and 12 is going to be 2 square times 3, right? So I can write down here what is going to be, you can write down 18 is 2 times 3 square, whereas 12 is 2 square times 3, right? And we need to find out LCM, which is the common meeting point, which is 18, and 12 LCM is going to be, you take the highest power of the common factor. So 2 square into 3 square, 9 fours are 36 minutes. So they both are going to meet after 36 minutes. That means how many, after how many minutes? 36 minutes. That means Sonia on the second round, whereas Ravi will complete the third round, right? They sometimes they'll add the additional question also. So therefore they both will meet after 36 minutes. Now after that you will have the another topic, which is the last topic of this chapter, which we take as irrationality of numbers. Now proving irrationality, like you know that what are the irrational numbers? Irrational numbers are non-terminating, non-recurring decimals, right? Root 2 or root 3 or root 5, any prime number which is under the root, we call it as irrational number, or we can take it as a sum of irrational is always an irrational. You all know that, last year you have none. Or if I take here root 5 plus root 3, sum of two irrational is also an irrational number. But how do we prove this irrationality? So here the last topic here, it is going to be proving here. Proving irrationality will be your last topic of the chapter here, right? So here it is proving irrationality. Rationality is going to be the next one. This is the last topic of this chapter because this is a small chapter, so very few topics are there in this chapter. Now for this you have to remember this theorem, because we take this theorem to prove the irrationality. Now what you need to remember here, let p be a prime number if p divides a square, then p divides a. How can you say that? Here what does it say here? Let p must be a prime number, right? So we can, how to remember here, that means p divides a square means here p is a factor of a square. Divides means divides completely, okay? So we can write down here p divides, you need to remember this statement. I'll give you example to understand. P divides a square, then P divides A. What is the other meaning of this? If P is a factor of A square, then P will be factor of P is factor of A as well. Now if I take one example, now A square means any number which is in square form. So if I take here, if I am taking here 6 square, 4 square, 5 square, you can take anything. If I take here 5 square, right? Or I can have any number also which is a perfect square, because either, see here, I can write down this as 25. See, 5 square is nothing but 25. So any number which is a perfect square, or any number which is in the form of square, right? So what is the prime factor which will divide here? So we can write on here 5 divides 25. 5 divides 25 here. So automatically 5 will divide 5 also, because 25 is the square of 5. Right? So we write down here P 5 divides 25, hence 5 divides 5. Let us take some bigger number so you will understand here. If I am taking here some other number, if it is any number which is in the square form, if I take it here 24 square, which is 576, right? 24 square is 576. Now what is one of the prime number which can divide this? I can write down here 2 divides, because all the even numbers will be divisible by 2. So 2 divides 24 square or 576. So that means P divides 24 as well. Right? So this, how are we going to use this to prove the irrationality? Let us take here, there is another theorem, and the theorem proof also will come here. Prove that root 2 is an irrational number. We always take here root 2 as an irrational number, right? But how do we prove this theorem? Because the proving part comes in exam as 3 marker. Any kind of irrationality proving, mostly it comes as 3 marker question. So there will be one 2 marker question from this chapter, and then there will be one 3 marker question, and then there will be, on other than that, there will be one MCQ, mostly based on prime factorization or relationship between HCF and LCM. Now the first thing what to prove here, whenever we have to prove here, to prove is root 2 is an irrational number. Right? To prove that it is an irrational number, we take the contradiction. We take here the contradiction means we need to prove irrational, so we will take, let us suppose root 2 is a rational number. So we will assume that. So what we'll write on here, let us assume root 2 is a rational number. Right? So this is a rational number. Now because root 2 is an irrational number, that means it can be written in P by Q form, and wherever, and here we can take here let P by Q form, where P and Q are co-primes, right? Because always the numerator denominators are always, and P and Q are part of integers, and Q can never be equals to 0, right? Here we will prove that they are not co-prime, because this is, we have assumed, we'll just contradict our assumption that it is not co-prime. So how can we do it here? Now because it is in P by Q form, right? Then can I do squaring both sides? Because what are we going to do it here? Co-primes means P and Q are having only one as their common factor, right? So co-primes means in the bracket you can write down P and Q have one as common factor. Co-prime means one as common factor. So we'll show that there is one more common factor other than one. That means automatically my statement will be contradicted. So Q have HCF equals to 1, or 1 as their common factor. Now you do here squaring both sides, right? I can either transpose or square, or initially also you can square, right? I can do here one more step here, and you can do it here. I can write down root 2q is equals to p, and squaring both side means root 2q whole square is p square, and this will be 2q square is equals to p square. Now we have to use that theorem, p square divides, p is a prime number, p square divides a square, then p divides a. Right? Now you see that here QP is in the square form. So what can I write down? Can I transpose 2 to the right side here? If I transpose Q square is p square by 2. Now this is a perfect square. That means 2 divides this exactly. So what you will write down here, because when you are dividing you are getting q square, which is a perfect square, no decimal, it will divide exactly. So what you will write down here, 2 divides p square, therefore 2 divides, or 2 is a factor also, you can write down p. Now because 2 divides p, I can write down p as the prime factorization of something. Like if I'm taking here, take it as 16. 2 is a factor of 16, right? This is nothing but 4 square, right? So 2 is a factor of 16. So 2 divides 4 also. So can I write down 16 as 2 into 8? So one of the factor is 2 you are showing, and there will be some other product of other factors which I'm taking it as a. So let p is equals to a and label this as number 1. Substitute p in 1, equation 1. So we got 2 as a factor of p. We have to find out now 2 is factor of q as well. So that is why we are doing this. So what I can write on here now, q square will be as it is, and in place of p I'll put here 2a whole square by 2. So what are we going to get it here? Q square is equals to 4a square by 2, and you will get it here, q square is equals to 2a square. Now same thing you will divide now q square by 2, right? So here q square by 2, which is a square. Now you can see that again 2 is dividing q square and you are getting a perfect square. That means 2 is a factor of q square. Now what can you write down here? 2 divides, see it's a repeated term same as p. So 2 divides q square, therefore 2 divides q as well. 2 divides q, right? Now we can see that here if you see 2 is a factor of p as well as q, because 2 is dividing both, right? So you can write down 2 divides p and q. So 2 is a common factor between P and Q other than 1. See, as per this, other than, we have taken their co-prime. So their common factor was supposed to be only 1. But using this, we got 2 as another factor. That the moment any number which is having common factor, that means they are not co-prime. The statement is now false, right? So what can we write down here? Hence, it contradicts our assumption that P and Q are co-primes. It's because there is at least 2 as a common factor. So here we can write down here at least 2. So at least you can use minimum, at least there is one common factor other than 1. So what we will write down here, but this contradicts our assumption. But this, you must mention this contradicts our assumption that P and Q are co-primes, right? So what we will write down? So therefore this, now this, using this contradiction, our assumption will write down, hence our assumption, what did we assume? Root 2 is a rational number. Our assumption that root 2 is a rational number is incorrect, right? Or is wrong. Rational number is incorrect. Hence, incorrect or assumption is false, right? Anything you can write on. Hence, root 2 is an irrational number. Irrational number. Now this is a theorem, so root 2 is an irrational number. You can take it while solving the question also. Now you have proved that root 2 is an irrational number. Now which kind of questions you will see here? See, look at here. There can be root 2, root 3, root 5. So root 2 is a theorem. You can prove. Similar way you can prove all root 5 or root 3 or root 7, root 11. Any prime number inside root, you can prove that it is an irrational. Then how are you going to prove question number 2? Because question number 2, there is something which has been added there. That's even easier than this, because what can we take it here? Here I need to show that what is the another question here? 3 plus root 2 root 5, right? So question number 2 here, what we will take here? Again we will take here, let us assume, we have to prove that it's irrational. So let us assume that 3 plus 2 root 5 is a by b form, right? Now here what can we write on here? We can write on here. So let 3 plus 2 root 5 is equals to p by q. A by b, p by q, r by s, anything you can take it. I am taking p by q because most of the time you learn p by q as a rational number. So I can take it here p by q, but after that you must mention that here where p and q are co-primes, because this must be mentioned. This only we are going to contradict. Co-primes and p and q are integers, and q can never be equals to 0. Then after that you transpose. Now here you can't do squaring both sides. First transpose everything other than root 5. So what will happen here? 2 root 5 is equals to p by q minus 3 by 1. I can get the q as a common denominator. So 2 root 5 is equals to p minus 3q by q. Now you transpose 2 to the right side here. How will we get it here? Root 5 is p minus 3q by 2q. Now in this kind of question, generally they give, because here root 5 is an irrational, you have proved, that's why it's not given. Otherwise they'll give you here given that root 5 is an irrational number. Okay, they always give this so that you can use it. Now how are we going to use it here? Because you know that p and q are integers in the definition I have written. So whenever you take these numbers, automatically you know that, because here since p and q are integers, you can write down in words also, and whenever you are adding, subtracting any rational number with integers, you get a rational number. Integers p minus 3q by, because adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing any integers rational number, you get a rational number. Q is not equals to 0, is a rational number. See, this one you don't need to prove using the other one. By taking contradiction p by q and p divides a square, p divides a, you will take it when only root 2, root 3, root 5 such kind of numbers are here. Here you are using the rational number properties by multiplying, adding, subtracting, dividing any rational number with rational number integers, you always get a rational number. But is a rational number, but it is equals to root 5. What you will write down here? But given that root 5 is an irrational number. Now can we have here irrational number equals to rational number, right? Correct. So we can't take this, so because here they are equal, correct? So we can't equate a rational number cannot be a rational number. So we using this here, what can we write on here? So one more statement you can write on before writing this, because you are equating this with root 5. So this shows that it's a rational number. Then first you say that root 5 is a rational number, because how will you take it here? Right hand side you are getting, you can get it here, you can see here because it's a rational number, p minus 3q by q is a rational number. So root 5 is also a rational number because it's given it's equal to root 5. But it contradicts, right? But it contradicts the fact which is given here, but it contradicts 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 the given here, right? The fact that root 5 is an irrational number. Hence, you will take it here. Therefore, we conclude that it's our assumption is wrong. So this concludes that this it is the incorrect assumption that what we have taken here 3 plus 2 root 5, it contradicts our assumption that what was given here 3 plus 2 root 5 is a rational number. Hence 3 plus root 5 is an irrational number. So this is the way, hence 3 plus root 5 is an irrational number. Okay, so this is the way we prove irrationality of all these kind of questions. Let us see the exam based questions also. How do we solve? These are the topics which are there in chapter 1. Now we will see what can be the exam based questions. You have seen how to prove the irrationality. So one type of this kind of question that we have already discussed, right? So this will be a 3-marker question. Most of the time you get one proving irrationality based questions will be 2 to 3 marks. Other than that, there will be one MCQ because here exam type, whenever you are having this, there will be 6 marks mostly weightage to exam for this chapter in the exam. So 6 marks, there will be one 3-marker question, right? And then there will be one mostly 2-marker question, and then one will be 1-mark question, which is going to be your multiple choice question. So let us see, other than proving irrationality, what kind of questions will be part of from this chapter. It's written if the HCF of 65 and 116 is expressible in the form of 65m minus 16, then what is the value of m? So you know that you need to just find out the HCF of these two values here. So 65, if you do the prime factorization, it's divisible by 5, and 13 is a prime number. So this is the prime factorization, and you can quickly do it. MCQ, you don't need to show all the steps, so you can quickly do the HCF part here. Then here, if you take 7 plus 8 plus 1, here 9, which is divisible by 3. So 3 3s are, 3 9s are, again 3 1s are, 3s are, and here 13s are. Now, if you will observe both the factors, there is only one common, highest possible common factor, which is 13, right? So your HCF is nothing but here 13. But it's written here 65m minus 117 is equals to HCF, which is 13. Now do this simplification. 65m will be 13 plus 117. If I take it here, it will be 130 divided by 65 will be the value of m, and this is 1s are 2s are. So your m value is going to be 2. So what is the right option? If you will see, option number B is the right option. Right, in your answer sheet you will be writing only question number, then answer, what is the correct option, and then answer of that option. Then next MCQ question here, this kind of question can be 2-marker subjective question also. It's written the largest number which divides 70 and 125, leaving remainder 5 and 8. Now the largest number which divides a given number means you need to find out the HCF, but when you are dividing, is leaving the remainder, and it has to be a factor. So I can subtract here the remainder first. You will get here 65, and 125 minus 8 is 117. And just now above this question, you know that what is the HCF of these two numbers? We got it as 13. So what is going to be the answer here? Answer is going to be the 13. So 13 is going to be the largest number which divides this and leaves the remainder 5 and 8. How can you cross check? You can divide here 70 by 13. 13 5s are 65. You can see that it's leaving remainder 5. and 125 if you divide by 13, 13 nines are 117, and you will see here 15 minus 7, it is 8 is the remainder. So this is the way you can cross check your answer also. So your option number A, 13 is the right option. This is another MCQ type of question here, multiple choice question. What does it say? If two positive integers a and b are written in the form of here, a is nothing but x cube y square and b is given as xy cube are the prime numbers, then HCF of a and b. So how do we get HCF of a and b? You know that from the common factor, you will take the minimum power here, right, which is the possible common factor x and x cube. You know that x is going to be x to the power 1 is the minimum power, and y square y cube, what is the smaller power? Y square. So HCF will be xy square. So option number B is the right option. After that, these are the this is the subjective question. How will you solve with this question? This is question number 4. Now it says 15 pastries and 12 biscuits packets have been donated for a school fair, right? There are to be packed in these are to be packed in several smaller identical boxes with the same number of pastries and biscuits packets each. How many biscuits and pastries will each box contain? Whenever there is a equal division, dividing equally same number of biscuits and pastries in each boxes, you should know that this is nothing but HCF of 15 and 12 you need to find out. Now if you are finding here HCF of 12 and 15, you know that both will be divisible by 3. 3 must be the common factor, but how are you going to show? You have to take the prime factorization of 15. Now this is 15, so I directly know I can write down here 3 into 5, and 12 is 2 square, right, times 3. Now, if I take the HCF of these two numbers, 12 and 15, you know that what is the common factor here? Only 3. That means each box will contain here 3 biscuits or pastries in each box, right? Therefore, 3 pastries or biscuits will be there in each box. Will be there in each box. Sometimes they'll add the question here, will be there in each box. Sometimes they add the question here, how many number of boxes are required to fit these pastries and biscuits. So how can we find out here how many boxes are required here? Number of boxes required. You know that 15 pastries where 3 pastries are in each box will require here 5 boxes, right? Plus here 12 biscuits, each having 3 biscuits in each box will require here how many? 4 boxes. So altogether you will require there 9 boxes to fit 15 pastries and 12 biscuits. Now let us go for the next question. What is written here? In a seminar, the number of participants in Hindi, English and mathematics are 60, 84 and 108 respectively. Find the minimum number of rooms required if each room is having same number of participants. Please do not just see how many minimum number of rooms, then you will take the least common multiple. That's not correct. Whenever you have to divide these number of students in each room equally, are to be seated and all of them being in the same subject, right? So Hindi students will be divided among some number of rooms equally, right? So what we need to find out here, it's not LCM, it is HCF of 60, 84 and 108. How will you do it here? First, I'll take this. Always you have to take here only prime factors. I can then take this here ones are, then 84 prime factorization you have to do it. Then 2 ones are, 3 sevens are, 7 ones are. Then 108 also you can take prime factorization, 54, 27. 3 nines are, then 3 threes are, 3 ones are. And if I'm writing here 60 is 2 square times 3 times 5. Whereas prime factorization of 84, it is here 2 square times 3 times 7. I'm writing 7 at the end so that all the same factors are together, and 108 prime factorization is here 2 square times 3 cube. Now I need to find out the HCF, means it should be highest common factor among all these three. And what do we take here? 60, 84 and 108. You see first the common factor and the lowest power among all. Now here they are equal. So it will be 2 square. Now among these three, if I take it here, this is 3 to the power 1, this is 3 to the power 1 and 3 cube. And the lowest power is 3 to the power 1. So times 3, which is going to be 12. So 12 students are going to be in each room, per room, right? So how, what the question says here, so there will be how many minimum number of rooms are required here. So 60 divided, because 12 students will be in each room. So how to find out here, number of rooms will be, number of rooms for Hindi students will be 60 by 12, because 60 students will be divided among the different number of rooms having 12 students in each room. Then 84 here, what is the other subject here? English. So English student again divided by 12 plus 108 math students by 12. So it is 5 plus, this is minimum number of rooms, right? So 5 plus 7 plus 9, because 12 nines are 108. And if you add it, you will require 21 rooms. So minimum 21 rooms are required to fit all these students, right? After that, let us go for the next question here. Other than this question, if you will see here, these are the two another solved question. You can see that here. I'll just tell you how I've taken here. Now, if I take here, it's written on a morning walk. Three people step together, and their measures steps measures 42 centimeter, 40 meter, and 45. What is the minimum distance each should walk so that each can cover the same distance? Now, again, because minimum distance they have to cover so that they meet at a common point, you need to find out the LCM of these three numbers. So again, you will do prime factorization. Now when you are writing prime factorization, you can see that 2 and 2 cube. 2 cube is the highest common factor here. The highest, the factor which is with the highest power. So you will take 2 cube. Now here 5 and 5, you will take 5 only cause common factor. 3 and 3 square, you will take 3 square because we are finding LCM. For HCF, we will take the lower power, and 7 is also the factor. So if I take here product of all these, I am getting here 2520 centimeter, which is nothing but 25.2 meters. So each one have to walk minimum 25.2 meter distance so that they will meet at the same point and they will complete their walking whatever the track is there. Other than that, we have seen the above that proving irrationality based questions here. Now if you will take this, prove that root 3 plus, this is another type of question we'll have it, root 3 plus root 5 is an irrational number. How do we do it? Your steps are same. They'll give you here root 3, root 5 or root 15 are irrational numbers. Now first again we'll take it as a rational number. You take rational number means it is equals to p by q. Then you will take whole square both side, and where p and q are co-prime means their common factor is only 1, where q is never equals to 0 and p and q are the part of integer. If I'll take here a plus b whole square identity, I can do a square, this is a square, root 3 square is 3, then root 5 square is here b square, and this term is 2ab, which is 2 root 15. Root 3 into root 5 is root 15, and right side it will be this. Now I need to take one of the irrational number here to the left hand side and all the other here whole number to the right side. So p square minus q square minus 8, and you get the LCM, you will get p square minus 8 square, 8 q square by here q square. Now you know that because and 2 also you transpose, so you will get here root 15, which is equals to p square minus 8q square by 2q square. Now you know that p by q is a rational number where p and q are integers. So when you add, subtract anything, the integers in that rational number, you get a rational number. But root 15 is an irrational number. So this contradicts. Our irrational number cannot be equals to a rational number. So that's why root 3, our assumption, it contradicts our assumption that root 3 plus root 5 is an irrational number. Hence root 3 plus root 5 is an irrational number. It is not a rational number. So this is the way you will prove it. Other than that, other than this, you can get all these kind of question also. Root 2, root 3, root 5, root 7, all these are irrational number. or sometime you get where one number is added, or you can take it as a subtracted also. Here also you are adding, there is one denominator also. So all these questions are based on proving irrationality, right? This is also 2 or 3 marker question will come from this part. So these are the topics which is there in real numbers. Hope you got this.
Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe. Also, keep practicing.